You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Good morning and welcome to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. I'm Mr. Producer. I've already had 5 cups of coffee, so I'm fired up, and I know Brian is fired up as well to share with you Mark Bradley's keynote message from this past November's Lawntrepreneur Academy live event. Now, Mark, as you know, is the CEO of LMN Software. He leads a passionate team that's dedicated to helping landscapers thrive. He's got over 30 years of industry expertise and understands the challenges that you guys face. That's why he developed LMN Software to streamline operations, to save time, boost profitability for thousands of companies, maybe like yours. All right, let me take a deep breath there and just sort of slow my heart rate down a little bit. By the way, if you like this message, be sure and check out the entire replay, not just of Mark's message, but all of the speakers from Lawntrepreneur Academy Live. The replay, just $75 over there at lawntrepreneur.academy.com. Also, if you've listened to any of Brian's recent shows, you know that, what's the term he uses? Graduated, that he recently graduated to LMN's software for his company. And on Thursday, March the 14th, I think that's a slight date change from some others that he's mentioned, but sort of put that into your phone. March 14th, Brian and Mark are going to host an LMN launch party. That's going to be live on YouTube, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Brian will show you his entire account on LMN, how their pricing is set up, their operating budget for 2024, while Mark shares how LMN actually works for those that are aspiring to grow a medium to a large-size landscaping company. There's no cost to this exclusive event. Just stream it live on Thursday, March 14th, 7 to 9 p.m. over there on Brian's Lawn Maintenance on his YouTube channel, the Brian's Lawn Maintenance YouTube channel. Hey, enough of me.
All right.
Let's hear from Mark Bradley.
Thanks, everybody. I appreciate the warm welcome there, Brian. First off, I just wanted to say that I'm completely pumped to be here with you guys. Super grateful for the opportunity to speak here. As Brian said, I spend a lot of time going to a lot of conferences, talking to a lot of landscapers, and really amazed at what Brian, Liz, and his team have put together here. So maybe before we get started, let's give them a huge round of applause. I don't think we've done that yet. And I will tell you, I've almost lost my voice this week. I had an incredibly busy week touring around and talking. Getting started, I think what I wanted to talk about was, just how amazing it is that everybody decided to come out to an event like this to learn from each other. And I think everything that I've heard all of the other speakers share has been super motivational. I think this concept of leveling up and this new version of ourselves as we grow our businesses is something that we all face every day. I know I have never ended learning, and I've never stopped working on myself over those years. If I rewind back 33 years ago, just kind of picture me. I'm a young small town kid, had these dreams of building financial freedom through my landscape company. And I come from a hardworking family, farmers, tradespeople, kind of watched them work way too hard for way too little. My whole life, I remember hearing the conversation about money at the kitchen table, and there was never enough. I kind of took it upon myself to become an entrepreneur and find a way past that. I decided that working for somebody else wasn't going to be much different than what I saw my parents go through. So at 15, obviously too young for a driver's license, I started mowing and selling firewood and taking on projects in the area we lived in, taking the farm truck and driving without a driver's license. I wasn't quite as honest about riding my bike to town. I just hell, I just got in the truck and went. But made a lot of mistakes. I definitely screwed up plenty. But I really did come to appreciate that all of those mistakes, big and small, those were really where all the learning came from. And when you're working on your own, all you have to learn from is your own mistakes. But I think coming to places like this and learning from each other's mistakes, that's where you really start to improve a lot faster. And so I really started to learn that quickly as well as I started to talk to other customers, talk to some of my customers, talk to some other local entrepreneurs that noticed a young kid getting started. So I consider myself pretty fortunate to have met so many great mentors over the years, and me being a bit of a sponge and asking lots of questions and always being interested, I learned a lot from those people, but I still somehow continued to make more mistakes than not. But again, those mistakes were the gifts, and what I decided to do with them made all the difference. So I think being surrounded by such a huge group of people, and there's a lot of really young entrepreneurs in here and some not so young, but lots of new budding businesses I really love to share with. And so I think I call that group flow, by the way, when you get a big group of people and everybody's kind of locked in and focused on the same thing. It's been a day of really widespread learning. I think I've heard all kinds of conversations as I walk through the room. Obviously, there's been some great speakers. I think as we go through the next sort of 20 minutes or so, and I share a few things, just keep in mind that you can't learn everything in one day. You're just going to kind of take that idea or two that you're going to really sort of hyper-focus in on over the next year. And if I can help in any way, please feel free to reach out. But I think we're all kind of hooked on this landscape thing. You're here for that reason. Obviously, you drove here, flew here to learn more, but I think, being amongst your peers, your people, makes you comfortable. I think it's more than just solving problems and making things look pretty, this industry. It really does become an addiction, whether you're into the gear or you're into the work or the craft, whatever it happens to be. I think what starts to happen is the better you get, the more you want to tackle. And for me, and I think like many of you, it kind of starts to evolve into something much deeper, much more than maybe what initially attracted you to the industry. I think it's about making life better for yourself. And I think it's starts to evolve once that happens. And that will happen for everybody here if you work hard enough. And if you work smart enough, it'll happen faster. But the truth is the more success that you find, the more that your mission will evolve. And I think you'll start to realize that it's about making things better for everybody around you, your employees, your customers, the communities that you work in. And I think this industry allows us to do that, unlike many others. So again, I've always been trying to level up, taking part in my trade association, peer groups, tech masterminds. I even did a Google internship in my early mid-30s, actually, while running a landscape company with 250 plus employees. I stopped at the Google office each day and went in and did an internship with the kids. I've always continued to learn and continued to make mistakes and learn from them. But what I realized is as my landscape company grew and my trade skills and hard work weren't enough, I really kind of started to realize that dealing with employees became kind of my number one problem, became frustrating. And I think that's when I really found that I needed to make change. I had this kind of reality check. And I think this realization that I needed to change created this sort of 2.0 version of myself. So today I'm going to talk about Leadership 2.0 with the group. And what that meant for me is I think I realized that continuous improvement to me was kind of natural. I grew up as an athlete. I had to get better every day if I wanted to win. And that was kind of natural, just work harder and get better. When I got to work, I did the same. I worked harder and I got better, and I expected that of those around me. But I wasn't really able to communicate how or why or where we were headed or exactly what it would take to get better. I couldn't really communicate to them how they could get better and how they could really understand what it was that I was trying to achieve. And I think that is that realization. That's when I realized that I had to change. I had to learn how to do that, and that wasn't going to be easy. So this concept of continuous improvement was natural, but how to get others to think that way wasn't. So by 2005, I started my company in 97. By 2005, after 8 years in business, the company had scaled, and I was in around the $10 million range, working incredibly hard, 7 days a week, sun up to sundown, nonstop. I just kept breaking every system that I built. And, I would read books and it'd say, well, when you've got problems, create systems. And I took that a little too literally, I think, in my younger years. I would build systems and processes, but then I'd forget to tell people why. And I'd forget to train them how. And the systems and processes kept breaking. And the more the business grew, the more those systems and processes broke as well. My fuel system for 20 trucks was to put tanks in the yard. But when I had 60 trucks, the lineup at those 2 tanks was a mile long at the end of the day. So my systems had to keep changing. And so as the business evolved, I had to evolve. The systems had to evolve. But most importantly, my people had to evolve, and they had to learn how to evolve and why they needed to evolve for themselves. Otherwise, it was just going to be me pushing everybody all the time. And that's no fun. So as that business started to scale and it got out of control, I decided to start building some software because I decided that I had to find a way to make my systems automated. I had to find a way where other people could use my systems, where they could price work for themselves. I wanted my 25 foremen to be able to price their own jobs. I wanted them to be able to understand when those jobs were going well, when they weren't. I wanted them to understand how we made money. I wanted them to think like entrepreneurs. I wanted them to understand exactly how much money I made on jobs and how much more money they could make if they knew how to make money for the company. And so I went on this mission to build this product. It took me many years and lots of mistakes along the way. But as that system started to evolve, the company continued to scale, and my life really started to change. And by 2015, after 18 years in business, the company hit the top 100 list, which as a budding entrepreneur, that meant something to me. But oddly enough, once I got on that top 100 list and I had 300 or 350 employees, my mission really evolved again. It wasn't really about the revenue at all. What I quickly came to realize is that the people around me were what was most important. Seeing all that growth and seeing all those people perform at that level, running crews that were producing over $1 million worth of work, single crews, having 50 foremen that could produce over $600,000 a year. That was where my success was. It wasn't in the revenue, and it wasn't in the profits, and it certainly wasn't in the car I drove or the house I lived in. It was really that camaraderie of the team and really seeing that system succeed. So my purpose really started to shift. And I decided it was time for me to leave landscaping, which seemed crazy at the time to many people around me. They couldn't believe it. I was working far too much, and my personal health wasn't a priority. And I decided I'd have a bigger impact on the world if I shared what I had done with an entire industry. And so I really decided to hyper-focus on growing the software business. So today, LMN helps 9,000 companies coordinate over 300,000 employees each day. And through the acquisition of Greenius, I'm really hyper-focused on developing an international apprenticeship system where companies like you can sign up your employees and train them and deploy them in a way where they can contribute to your businesses just like my employees could in mine. It turns out that's what makes me happiest. And the fact that you're here means you want to learn and you want to build a better business as well. Over the years, I feel like I kind of had more transformations than a superhero. It was, as a leader, I had to really adjust who I was from 0 to 200,000 to 500,000 to $1 million in sales. It was a very different leader when I started to when I got to $1 million. And then, from 1 million to 3 million, there was this huge transformation again. I had to really change who I was because up to $1 million, I could do the work and I could do it really well. I could work really hard. Every day was a workout to me. I was just in there grinding. But from 1 to 3 million, I had to learn how to run a business. I had to understand how to price work. I had to understand how to sell it. I had to understand how to make profit off of other people performing the work in my absence. And that was a very different challenge. And again, I had to change again when I scaled up to 10 million. Now I was worried about cash flow and liability and contracts and lawyers and insurance companies, a very different leader again. And when I was running a company of that size, I had to really be good at creating more leaders because to keep fueling it, the business is easy to find, but the people aren't. So I really had to focus on learning how to develop people. And then as the company hit 30 million and way beyond, I just had to find ways to do that at scale where I wouldn't necessarily be teaching each leader myself, but my system could create that level of success. And so this is this concept of always replacing yourself. And that's what great leaders do. So whether you're replacing yourself with the first person or 100, a great leader finds a way to replace themselves so that they can reach a new level and what they were doing before can be done by somebody else. And I think that's where a lot of us entrepreneurs, we tend to micromanage and we don't think other people can replace us. But I think if you want to enjoy what you do as an entrepreneur, you have to find ways to enjoy teaching others to replace you. And when you see that happen and you see them succeed, when you start taking pride in that, you have really found a new level as a leader. And that's what it really means at the end of the day. And there's a lot of purpose in that, and there's a lot of enjoyment in that. You can truly help others. You can have them reach new personal goals. You can have them find financial success. And in the process, you'll do better. And I think when you learn to get really good at doing that, then you deserve to grow. And so I think the world is full of all kinds of great stories, 10x this and that and the other thing. There's all kinds of quick, rich schemes out there. I believe that you don't deserve to grow until you understand how to replace yourself and until you want to replace yourself for the right reasons so that that person that you're replacing yourself with can take your place in many ways, including financial. You have to pay them a fair wage to do that, and you have to share in the profits if you want to really do this sustainably. So before I jump into these couple of slides I'm going to share, there's one thing before you set any business goals that I like to share. And I wish I knew this earlier in life, and hopefully you write this down. Before you build some business goals, make sure you've got personal goals. Mine are pretty simple. I'll share them. Number one, it's to optimize myself. And so I spend hours every day optimizing myself because I can't be a good leader if I don't optimize myself. And that means mental and physical health. I have to be mentally and physically healthy to be a good leader so I can show up for those people that I've committed to leading. Number 2, I got to keep my love life on point. You're not successful when you're trashing your personal life at the expense of the business. Your love life is more important than your business. Make sure you write that one down. I got to strengthen my bonds with my kids, my family, and my friends before I run my business. That's more important than my business, and it always will be. And then last, I got to develop myself as a CEO. I got to get better because the business needs a better CEO all the time. It's growing. I've got 100 plus employees onshore, another 50 offshore, and I've got 300,000 landscape workers out there doing their jobs every day that rely on me. I got to do my job, and I got to get better at it in order to continue to do it better. And that's important to me as well. But it's 4th on the list. And so once I've got that figured out, now I can continue to build a business. And I think everybody here should make sure they focus on those things first, because often that's what's holding us back. That's what's really, truly holding us back from reaching our full potential. Once those things are in place, the business will grow. So as I've shared, I'm on a mission to make this industry as good as it can be. I'm here for everybody in the room. I don't care what software you use. It doesn't matter. My financial goals have been met. You can hit me up on LinkedIn anytime. If you've got a question, I'll get back to you. I'm busy. I tour the country 40 weeks a year. I'm never in one place for very long. I'm very happy, though, to take a call, do a Zoom, do what I can to help. If you're under 18 and you want to use my software, hit me up on LinkedIn. It's completely free. All the training, every course, every ticket, I don't care what it is. If you're under 18, it's free. If you know someone who's under 18, it's free. You don't have to be here in this room. Creating a movement like this takes teamwork, so hopefully you'll all join me on this journey. As I said, I'm here to help anytime. I'll be back here in this same town, December 7th and 8th, for a 2-day workshop. I teach these myself for a reason. I go around and I spend time with landscapers in every city. Usually there's 50 to 100 in the room, and we work through a business plan. And I show you exactly how I did it. Whether you've got 1 truck or 100, it's the same process. So don't think you're too small or too big to show up. Everybody will take out value, and the people that you meet in the room might be some of the biggest gifts that you've had as well, because the way that I teach the course, it's a very conversational program. It's 2 full days. We take the evening on the first day to have drinks together. We eat together. We get to know each other. And I know it'll change your business. So if you're able to come, please do. Again, here, December 7th and 8th. Afterward, we're going to tour Troy Clogg's facilities. He's going to show you how he runs his business. He's one of our biggest customers, has a tremendous business, as I think most of you already know. He's going to open up the doors and kind of show you behind the scenes on day 2. So again, hopefully you can make it. So business utopia, what is it? For me, business utopia kind of looks like this. I'm kind of always trying to find a way for people to be able to finish my sentences in my absence. Find ways to create systems to continuously improve. And obviously, I can't do this myself, so I have to find systems so that other people can continuously improve. People that can develop and maintain greatness in the company, this great culture, I need people who can do this. They don't do this on their own. This isn't common sense. When people say, hey, like, why isn't there any common sense in my business? Well, it's not common sense. That's the reality. It's not common sense to know how to build culture. So as a leader, you do that. Whether you've got 3 employees, 30 or 300, it's your job to create the culture. And culture is a big word that gets overused. I'll tell you my opinion on culture. All it is culture is really just the way it is in your business. And so the way it is the way you make it. That's up to you as the leader. I want people to think independently. I want them to be able to share their ideas, and I want them to create improvements. I don't want everything to come from myself. That's a lonely place. I want people to be able to create and maintain business relationships when I'm not around. That's what owning a business means. Otherwise, you just own a job. I want to be able to retain customers because we're actually great at what we do, not because we just say we're great at what we do. I want to be able to find and grow new revenue, and I want to be able to execute the work profitably. And I want people in my company to know what that means, just as well as I do. I don't want people to guess on price. I don't want people to guess on whether or not we're going to make money. I want everybody to understand it. I want the formula to be completely clear because it's easy. It's not a complicated formula. You can learn this formula in a couple of hours and you can make sure everybody that works for you understands it, and even less. It is not hard to understand how to make money in this business if you take the time to learn. But most of us, we just keep on pushing harder and harder, working more and more hours to try to make up for the mistakes that we make when we're budgeting and estimating and doing the important things in the business. So the big news flash here is none of the things I just said are going to happen on their own. They're only going to happen if you as the leader make it happen. This 2.0 version of you, if there's one to be, this will not happen unless the leader uses repeatable systems to develop people. So your job as a leader really quickly shifts as soon as you go from 1 truck to 2 to this leader who now has to develop people. You have to replace yourself. You have to get good at replacing yourself. The reason that I built LMN was because I knew that I had to replace myself hundreds of times, over and over and over. I had to replace what I knew hundreds of times. And so I think as a leader, the sooner you get used to finding comfort and finding happiness in replacing yourself, the better you'll get at it. Which generally means you're going to have systems and accountability of some type in your company. So this concept of the 2.0 leader, well, it's kind of simple. Ultimately, right in the middle, there should be a mission. Why are you in business? What is the mission of the business? And once you're clear on what that mission is, then it becomes kind of easy, in my opinion, to set goals, set some desired outcomes, put some strategies in place, and figure out how to measure whether things are going on track, and then kind of take those results and do something with them. And hopefully, you're going to do the right thing and try to improve off of those results. But ultimately, the mission's sitting right in the middle. And most companies don't have one when they're small businesses, unfortunately. The big guys always have them. The best landscape companies always have a mission statement. I can tell you that for sure. I've seen small companies that are doing $400,000 or $500,000 in sales grow to $20 million in less than 5 years, far faster than I did. And every time, the same thing is sitting right in the middle. Super clear mission statement that guides all of the goal setting, all of the strategies. They learn how to measure, and then they learn how to repeat. They're always improving. This mission statement, whatever yours is going to be, is really just a description of why you exist, what you do, who you serve, and what makes you different from everybody else. This is your statement to tell your staff what it is that you're in business for. It's that clarity, it's the direction for everybody to really sort of understand what it is that your company stands for. And if you want people to get behind you, make sure that they know what the mission is, because you're asking them to stay on your mission and achieve whatever it is that mission sets out to achieve. And all of the decisions that you make in the business should be fueled by this mission. It becomes that piece of sort of information that guides everybody all the time. When there's a problem, you ask them, hey, is this in line with our mission? When they show up or work late, hey, does this serve our mission? When they leave the garbage in the trucks, when they're not taking care of the tools, when they're forgetting things, when they're not treating your customers well, are any of those things serving the mission? It just becomes a point of reference. And ultimately, as an example, there's very small print here, but our mission is to be the go-to landscape company for those who demand the best. We're dedicated to providing unparalleled service, creative designs, lasting quality, ensuring that every outdoor project becomes a timeless masterpiece. That's great. That's what you're there to do. But how are you going to do it? And so I think making sure that what you're dedicated toward doing is really clear in your mission. And then you can create strategies to make that happen. So we're dedicated to personalized excellence, quality workforce with fair pay. Our clients are going to get the best work, creative designs and artistic workmanship. We're going to use the best equipment money can buy. This is obviously just an example. If this is my example, then what I'm going to do is when I get to the next stage after my mission is built, I'm going to go to setting goals. I'm going to use my goals to deliver on that mission, and what I'm dedicated to is going to be really clear. So where I want to go, my desired outcomes, that's the budget. You have to have a budget if you want to know where you're going. You should know exactly how much revenue you're planning to do in the coming year, so that you know how much you can pay your staff, how much equipment you can afford to buy, and how much profit's going to be left over at the end of the day. You can't guess on these things. They're non-negotiable. So the goals and the desired outcomes are largely set by the budget, but not every goal is a financial goal. A lot of those goals could be different. It could be building a shop like the Almonds. It could be a big vacation. Could be your first house. It could be maybe seeing all of your employees have a minimum wage that's double the minimum wage in your market. The thing I was most proud of when I was on that top 100 list by my 18th year, it wasn't the revenue. What I was most proud of is that I was paying 3 times minimum wage in my company. My lowest paid employee was making $56 an hour. And I was making $7 million a year, and I didn't have to hide it. Because everybody was doing well. And that's what strategy will deliver if you stay on it. And so desired outcomes for everybody, those matter. When the desired outcomes are clear, then you can continuously work on strategy together. You can be honest with your staff. They'll be honest with you when you're honest with them. And when you set desired outcomes together and you work toward this together in a transparent way, when they understand how the company makes money and you understand how the company makes money, now you're partners. I used to look at all of my crew leaders, foremen I called them, as partners. And they are. They carry your wallet. If you don't think that these people that are out driving your trucks, running your mowers, your skid steers, laying pavers, servicing your customers are your partners, you're absolutely wrong. These people carry your wallet. Every decision they make, the way they unload the truck, the way they drive to the site, everything is a financial decision. They're carrying your wallet. It's worth making sure you're on the same page, and it's worth making sure they understand how the company makes or loses money. And that's a lot easier to do than you think. And if you come to my workshop, I'll make sure you know by the time you leave. Learning how to set goals in business, this isn't natural to many people. But as a great leader, you need to know how to set goals. They need to be specific. They need to be measurable. They definitely need to be achievable if you want your staff to believe in you. They need to be relevant to everybody who is going to have to be accountable to them, and they need to be time-bound. And once you can learn to set goals as a team, once people understand what it is you're trying to achieve and they understand your goals, then business gets fun. It gets really fun for everybody involved. Because now when you're keeping score, there's a little bit of pressure. And a little bit of pressure is great. When there's no way of keeping score, there's a lot of pressure. Because everything feels like it's out of control. Trust me, measuring might feel a little stressful at first, but it's a whole lot less stressful than not measuring. Because when you don't measure, everything feels like it's failing. It feels like you're sinking all the time. And that's why so many businesses don't get past the 4-year mark. It's absolutely why people don't get past the 4-year mark. So again, we've got goals, we've got desired outcomes. Now all we got to do is start to measure. And ultimately, we have to decide what to measure. And if you can't measure it, then you can't improve it. It's not going to get better on its own. It only will get better if you can measure whether or not it's getting better. 2.0 leaders understand how to get better because they take the time to figure out what the key metrics are. There are key metrics in your business that are no different than the other 200,000 landscape companies in this country. I know these numbers extremely well, and you will too by the time you leave my workshop. 1.0 leader, those with their head in the sand, their business looks like this. They've got 10 employees that work 1,500 hours a year, and at the end of the day, if everything goes perfectly, and this is if you're not guessing on estimating, by the way, you'll make $100,000 in net profit. On the right, that leader that understands the metrics, who surrounds himself with an entire team who understand the metrics, well, with the same 10 employees, working the same hours, at a little higher rate, and I'm not necessarily saying you're going to change or charge out rates, but I can tell you'll get twice the work done each day with the same people when they think the way you do. And I don't need to tell you that, you already know that. Once you create a system where those people can perform the way you perform, once you learn how to replace yourself, and I mean really replace yourself over and over and over, this is the result. And that's how you can pay yourself more money. And that's how you can pay your staff more money. And that's how your business will earn more money and serve everybody it touches better. I think everybody here wants the company on the right. We don't need more equipment. We don't need more crews. We just need more efficiency, and we need to replace ourselves over and over and over again to get there. I see companies with this profit all the time. 1.875 may seem like a massive stretch for you right now, but I can tell you I have thousands of companies who have made the leap from 500,000 to this number. It's not that hard. Once you get there, that's the kind of profit you're going to make. And by the way, that's not your paycheck. That's the company profit. An owner that makes 1.875 already made 100,000 on top of that. Owners pays 100,000. The net profit's 421. And I'm not talking about doctored up tax documents. This is net profit, real profit. How does that happen? It happens when you learn how to price your work, how you learn to sell your work, how you learn to create packages, when you really understand where the profit is sitting, and when everybody in the company can do what you do. And they can do it because you created the system and they use it. The metrics that people need to be visible. This isn't hard. If you clock in and out each time you go on a job site, you've got all the metrics. That's the end of it. Bang. One thing. In, out. That's what you need, and you'll have metrics. It's not complicated. And you say, well, I don't do that right now because I don't have the time. Make the time. It's worth it. Make the time. I don't care if it's my software. There's other software that works too. But make the time. Make sure at the end of the day that you clock in and you clock out and you know your job costs, because that makes all the difference. That's when everybody in the company knows when they're contributing to a good year or when they're hurting you. It's important. We have to have that company budget. We have to know how our crews are performing. We need to know how each crew is performing, and we need to pay for performance. And that's easier to do than you think. Ultimately, each person on your crew, in your company that runs a crew, is a business partner. So set a revenue goal and pay them according to what they produce. It's completely fair. How do you do that? Come and hang out with me for a few days and I'll show you. Make sure that you understand how sales and marketing is going. If you're not busy enough, there's a reason. You've got to fix it. You've got a great resource back here. Investing in marketing, it makes a difference. If you're not getting the right business in the door, then you got to change something. But again, your 2.0 leader will invest in these things because they can afford to. And the reason they can afford to is because they charge their customers enough money, first off, but their crews produce so efficiently that they make way more money than their competitors. Because if I charge $100 and my crews get the work done twice as fast, I make money. If someone else charges the same $100 for the same job and it takes 3 times longer, they lose money. And that is the problem in this industry, is the pace. The efficiency is the problem in this industry. It's not the price. Trust me, it's not the price. I could charge the same price as many, many other contractors and make a lot more margin because the crews knew how to work efficiently, because we trained them to, because I replaced myself. That's why. Understanding the metrics on the jobs, understanding what jobs make money and which ones don't, that matters. Again, you should know this, and all you need to do is clock in and out on each job so that you know. Many times I see companies come to workshops, 50% of their jobs lose money. Half their jobs lose money. They just didn't allow enough labor hours to get the work done. It's impossible for the crews to succeed because they bid the jobs wrong, because they guessed. And the worst part is they didn't even know that they were wrong until they started clocking in and out on job sites and looking at job costs, understanding estimated versus actual hours. When you've got that clock in and clock out on a job site, now you can also automate revenue attribution. So now when you look at each foreman, you know exactly how much revenue they've produced each year. And then you can pay them properly. You can pay them a fair wage. You can treat them like partners, because if they earn more revenue and produce more profit, you can pay them more. You can share more with them. And I think that's what a 2.0 leader does. You can create accountability once you've got these metrics in your hands. Your crews, their culture, you don't have to worry about creating a culture of accountability. You just put it right in the palm of their hands. The key metric for the crew is estimated versus actual hours. That's what they have to worry about. You bid the hours on a job, they go get it done. Make sure they've got that in their hand every day, and now you've got a partner. You've got somebody else who worries about the job getting done on time, whether it's a design build, an install, a maintenance account. Every time the crew gets to the job site, you should be able to tell them how many hours they're supposed to be there and how many hours they've got left. That should be automatic. Leading with metrics means having this capacity to improve, creating career development plans that your employees can really utilize to actually get better. So when you see the metrics, you decide what training is needed in order for the crew to be able to perform the work more efficiently. And that's most important. If you expect to replace yourself over and over and over again, you have to find a way, once you look at the metrics and see something that's going wrong, to not run in and try to fix it, but to run in and try to train them so that they can fix it. This isn't about giving people shit. It's not about yelling and screaming. It's about finding out what's wrong and then fixing it with training. That's a system, and that's what leaders do. There's a problem. It's your job to fix it with training. You use the metrics to create the opportunities, to create the pathway for others to follow. You create training. You create a career path. You help people get there. And you create standard operating procedures. And what you will notice is you will be surrounded by partners, people who want to stay with you, who want to grow their business within your business and make all the difference. Again, hopefully you'll come out and join me in a couple weeks. We've got a mastermind program, whether you're a customer or not. Every week I'm on for 45 minutes. I touch on these topics in detail. Those are web-based. Each month we bring in a customer or two, sometimes three. We do a little panel discussion about their business. You'll hear some pretty cool stories. We pick the best out of an entire country or two countries. Thousands and thousands of contractors that we have to choose from. We have 5 times the number of members that NALP has, so we've got a few good ones to pick from. We've got 90-minute mastermind talks with these people where they share exactly how they got there and exactly what they broke along the way and how they fixed it. The 2-day workshop that's coming up here in Novi, there's lots of space still available. We generally don't cap it. If it gets big, we just get a bigger room. So hopefully you guys can make it and join me there. Every week we show off our product online 3 times a week. You're welcome to join us there. We've got demos Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And hopefully you'll join me for that session. If you take a picture of that, you'll be able to sign up right from there. Thanks, everybody. I think I'm over my time, so I'll be around afterward if you want to ask any questions. I've got a little table set up back here. Appreciate everybody listening, and hopefully I've given you an idea or two. I really appreciate being here.
Once again, you've been listening to Mark Bradley of LMN Software. If you'd like to catch the replay of his speech and all of the speakers from Lawntrepreneur Academy Live 2023, they're on sale now for $75, not individually, all of them for $75. Lawntrepreneur.academy.com. The link is in the show notes. Make sure to mark down March the 14th, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Are you subscribed with notifications turned on for the Brian's Lawn Maintenance YouTube channel? That way you can catch an exclusive event with Brian and our speaker from today, Mark Bradley. It's sort of Brian's graduation parties. He graduates to LMN Software March 14th. We'll catch you there and see you on Monday for the next edition of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Are you ready to attract new customers and save valuable time for your lawn and landscaping business? Introducing the Lawntrepreneur Academy Spring Door Hanger and Design Training Program. Say goodbye to the hassle of designing your own marketing materials and hello to a streamlined solution tailored for your business needs. Our program not only helps you get noticed by potential clients, but also saves you precious time by taking care of the design work for you. With our professionally crafted door hanger templates, you can effortlessly promote your services and stand out in your community. Customizable and easy to use, these door hangers are designed to help your business prosper this spring. Ready to take your marketing to the next level? Here's how it works. Purchase the Lawntrepreneur Academy Spring Door Hanger and Design Training Program. Receive access to our exclusive collection of door hanger templates designed specifically for lawn and landscaping businesses. Customize your chosen template with your business details, and through our special partnership, Postcard Mania handles the rest. Get started now at LawnTrepreneurAcademy.com.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.
This has been a Brian Fullerton and Mr. Producer production.